welcome to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Welcome to the show, to Business and Bubbly. I am excited that you are here today. And today's episode, this is actually our very first one, which is so fun. And these are episodes for women to know. And if you know anything about me, I'm your host, Charity Majors, and I am obsessed with creating platforms that really equip and empower women to be seen, heard, known as the experts and the amazing women that they are. And our special guest today is no different. So as she requests to join, let me pull this up here. I will just read her bio. Jumps on in, but we are going to have the opportunity to hear from Jackie Morales. She is. Hey, Jackie. She is a wife to her amazing husband, Edgar, who she met while serving on the mission field in Mexico, working with survivors of human trafficking. She is a mama to her 3 wonderful kiddos, all 5 and under. She's super mom. and her background is in social work, mental health counseling, and missions. She loves to be in nature and to connect with God in powerful and impactful ways when she does in nature. And she's actually the founder and the coach of Oakley Collective, which is something that has been on her heart to do for years. She's kind of been able to take the background that she's had in missions and in social work as a professional, and working with women in trauma and just in their healing journey within human trafficking, and really come alongside other women and other leaders now on their path to freedom, calling, and empowerment. So Jackie, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited that we get to connect.
Yes, thank you so much for asking me. It's an honor for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's start. I mean, we just heard some amazing things that you've been up to, and obviously what you're doing now, which we'll dive into, but we want to know, like, it wasn't always like that. So what got you to this place of where you're at now, really helping women with their identity and walking in that internal freedom, when it comes to like what they were created for?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it kind of started when I was living in Mexico City. While I was there, as you mentioned, I worked with girls coming out of situations of human trafficking. And I found that the ways that I was approaching things from like my training and experience and all of that just wasn't really working. And I really wanted to help, and that's why I was there. And people were looking to me as an expert to try to bring transformation and change. And it really caused me to kind of dig deeper into what healing actually looks like for a person. And, even beyond that, it kind of challenged me to understand whether I had achieved that kind of level of healing, because you can't give out what you don't have yourself.
Yeah.
So over time, I recognized that there were certain things that would come up for me as well. And, I'm the kind of person that just loves to go after those things and not stay stagnant. And really, I really feel like through that situation, I was able to help people and also grow myself. So it's been a journey from, I was in Mexico. It's now been, gosh, 6 years, 7 years almost since we've actually lived in Mexico. But that was a 4-year period. And then we moved here. And, since then, there's been other situations that I've been put in where I've really just had to choose whether I was going to grow through it, or I was just going to kind of, stand back and be like, well, this is just how things are. So, yeah, I would say that's kind of in a nutshell what my journey has looked like. And now having the experience that I have and the passion that I have for this topic and for people who are dealing with this, specifically women, I really felt like it was important to just step out and make it available to more people. So
I love that so much. So for you, what was maybe something that like throughout your journey, right? Because you talked about like you can't give out what you haven't already achieved. Like I think we can teach what we know. Like there's a lot of people that are teaching a lot of different things, right? Like you've been in the university system, like a lot of business professors that have never owned a business are teaching
right,
business.
right.
Like there's a lot of people teaching what they know, which there's a place and a time for that. But even more importantly, we can impart what we've experienced, right? And if you resonate with that and you're listening to this, or maybe you're watching the replay, like give me that virtual high five, like give the give me the comments or the hearts. Like we can teach what we know, but we can impart what we've experienced. So for you, if really equipping and empowering women to walk in their calling, to be empowered, and I know a big word for you is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that you had to journey through to really be imparted to walk in freedom that you are now able to impart to other women?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of key moments in my life that really fed into this whole understanding of freedom and how maybe I wasn't walking in freedom. Um, One of the big ones was actually my oldest son, Rowan. He's 5 years old. And when he was 18 months old, he went through a situation where he had a vaccine injury. And through that, he started to have seizures and It was just a really scary time as a mom. I was a new mom. I hadn't had any experience. I didn't know anybody that was dealing with what I was dealing with. And it brought me to a place where, even the doctors weren't very helpful. And I had to figure out what is going to be helpful for my son so that I can give him, the best and all the care that he needs, and to especially to get to a place where we were able to just live our daily life with peace again. um, Through that time, I started to feel a lot of anxiety. I had trouble sleeping. I was very worried about my son's future because he actually had some regression. He stopped talking, and he just had these very scary moments where they were called absence seizures. So he would kind of stare off, and then he'd kind of be limp and fall on me and cry. And, it just felt like such like a helpless place to be. And so honestly, that really pushed me to, not depend on other people who weren't helpful in that moment anyways, but to really dig deep into my faith and really ask God for the ability to address this issue that was going on. And it was just amazing, the breakthrough that came from that, but it came from me letting go of control and letting go of fear. I think fear is such a motivator, not in a good way, I would say, but it can bring us to places where we're just kind of in survival mode, where we're not thinking straight anymore, where we're just not at peace in our life. And that's kind of where I went. And I had to come to a place where I thought, I either choose to live this way or I choose to overcome this, and I choose to trust that there is a good future for us. And so, I'm happy to say now that my son is doing very well. It's still a process of healing. I'm still believing for that 100% healing for his life. But it has really grown me into the mother I needed to be, and just the person that I need to be able to share my story and give hope to other people. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the key situations. One other one that I would share is my brother. He, well, tragically passed away a couple years ago in a car accident, and it was very sudden. Obviously, he was only in his mid-20s, and it was honestly my biggest fear to lose my brother. And when it happened, again, that fear motivator, once it happened, it was like I had to face my fear and come out on the other side. And even though, of course, it was so painful to go through, my family and um, I was able to find peace in that situation, and I'm able to still walk in that today. And I think part of it was from facing my fear, giving it over to God, and trusting that, again, that his plans are good and that there's hope in every situation. And so, yeah, I think I've just walked through some difficult situations that have really caused me to dig deep into who I am and to really desire freedom instead of living in fear or anxiety or depression. And even letting go of this feeling like I need to control everything, because things have happened that were completely out of my control. And yet there was so much good that came out of that. And my willingness to just submit to that process that needed to happen for me to heal really brought so much to my life.
That's so good. So say someone is listening right now, right? They're under the sound of our voice and they're hearing this and they're like, yeah, I'm recognizing I have some fears, whether they're in business or it's something with their family, right? Because they're like, for us, especially as women, like things are pretty like intertwined, right? There's a lot of gray area. Like if we're a woman in business and we've got a family, like it's these different mindsets that can show up in every area of our life. So say someone has fear, whether it is something around their family or it could be a business decision that they're making, or, with what's been going on in the world recently, like there's a lot of fear that can be that we can easily fall into. What would you say to them to either encourage them or to help them realize first that they're in that spot, right? Like, because fear can show up, like it can manifest in different decisions that we make. It can manifest and show up in different ways, you know, that we like, you know, even if we're like the one like hiding in the corner of the room and not, you know, fully showing up, or like maybe I'm not going to share this part of me or who I am because I don't want to offend someone, or I don't want to like take a risk in joining this thing because what if I fail, or what if I'm a, you know, like, so if they're, first of all, how can it show up? Like some of those examples that I just mentioned. And then what can they do to kind of get out of that mindset of fear?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's individualized for everybody. Everybody deals with fear in a different way, but I think we all struggle with it to some point or another, especially if we've been through difficult situations or traumatic situations. But I think, you know, recognizing fear in our life, it looks like maybe taking an inventory of what it is that we are holding on to as far as like our mindsets, as far as how we view relationships, how we view ourselves, um, what we're willing to step out and do. Because I think fear obviously can hold us back from walking in courage and faith. And so, you know, fear might be a motivator that keeps you from doing something that scares you, something that seems too risky. You know, as business owners, like that's kind of like a requirement to go out and just do things that scare you. And you know, I really feel like that is where your calling lies. It's behind the things that you're afraid of, like the probably one of your biggest fears. If you're willing to face that, you're going to be able to discover probably the richest parts of you that are meant for you to give away to other people. And so, you know, I think it's coming to a place where you're willing to see fear as like an opportunity for you to step up into who you really are, into that true identity, that true version of yourself. Um, and I think we know what our fears are. And I think we try to put them to the side. We try to pretend they're not there. You know, I think our fears are linked to anything that might make us feel uncomfortable, or anything that may be holding us back from actually stepping up and doing the things that we know we're called to do. And so, yeah, especially I would say, like I said, we're for business owners, you know, we're in situations of leadership all the time. And that can be scary too. That can be draining as well. But I think just keeping that view of like, this fear that I'm willing to push through is going to bring me to the higher level of my, you know, who I am. And also I'm going to be able to reach the people that I'm meant to reach.
So good. I love that. And I love what you said. And, you know, it's like when you follow the fear, that's actually is like probably where like some of the biggest gifts and like the next level of who you're being called to, you know, grow into, like it's on the other side of that. So let fear, like follow the fear, let fear be your guide. There's one, I remember I wrote this blog post a number of years ago, and it was on this concept of fear, on this, you know, topic of fear, how sometimes it's not always like these big, massive fears that show up compared to like, sometimes it's like the little, like, the little things that like, just like that little thought that comes in, right? I remember one of mine when it was like Facebook Lives were like this brand new thing, and you know, like you're like, okay, like as a content creator or as an influencer, like, okay, I'm like, I gotta do a Facebook Live. And I just remember this thought that came into my head, and it was so dumb. And it was like, but you just got back from the gym and you haven't showered and you're kind of smelly. Like, what if they smell you on Facebook Live? Like, it was this irrational, like, dumb little thought. Yeah. And I didn't do the Facebook Live. Like, I had this, like, really great, like, you know, like those, like, really good downloads that you get. Like, and I was just going to, like, jump on and, like, share it. And I literally, because people were maybe gonna smell me on the screen because I hadn't showered after the gym, I didn't do the Facebook Live. Yeah. And it was so dumb, right? So sometimes it's like these little thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that keep us stuck and that keep us from doing the thing. And so it's, yes, it's recognizing like the big ones, but a lot of times, at least I think it's the dumb little ones that stop us.
True. Well, and those compound, right? The little things lead to the big things. So even those daily decisions of giving into that fear and letting it overtake you, that keeps you from the next thing that was supposed to come after facing that, right? Yeah.
For sure. Well, I love this. Jackie, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure the women that are watching this live and watching the replay, or maybe you're listening to this on the audio version of this, I'm sure they're going to want to learn, connect with you, find you, follow you. I know you have some really great programs and courses and coaching stuff out there, and just ways, you're really offering some great value even in your free Facebook group, where you're just like having these incredible conversations with women. So how can people dive into your world, find you, follow you, get plugged into you?
Yeah. So we just launched our website, actually. So you can find me there on oakleycollective.com. And then obviously the Facebook group, you just request to join. You can just search for Oakley Collective, Oakley Co. actually. And you'll find that group there. I'm also on Instagram. I'm still growing in that area, facing my fears with Instagram. So, but you can find me there. I'm working on putting content there. And yeah, I do offer coaching, individual coaching, inner healing sessions, as well as my 3-month program, which is really for any woman who's wanting to do a deep dive into these topics and find that true like victory and healing and freedom for their life. Because it takes a little bit of effort and time and consistency. So that 3-month program is really all about that.
Love it. Awesome. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being here, for your time. If you are watching or listening to this, make sure that you find Jackie, follow her, Oakley Collective. We'll tag her in this, as well as if it's the audio version, we'll put everything in the show notes. But Jackie, you are just a gem, and I have the honor of not only knowing you in business, but we are our babies. We just had the opportunity a couple years ago. We were in the same homeschool co-op and just had we just created such a sweet community. And this woman is such a gem, and she is so wise and one of the most genuine women I've had the opportunity to know. So Jackie, thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to continue to connect.
For sure. Thank you, Charity. And I did want to mention that just with my business just launching and launching the website, I have a special deal, I guess, for the Biz and Bubbly ladies. So if you want to check that out, it's on the website as well. I just wanted to put it out there because it's kind of a time limited thing. So yeah, but thank you so much, Charity, for having me on here. And yeah, just for your friendship and your wisdom as well, because you've taught me so much. So
thanks, friend. Love you.
Love you too.
Talk to you soon, you guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.